Cavecast, the uncensored show for nerds of all kinds.
Where do I begin with everything when it comes to YouTube, man? This is something that we've been very fresh at and that we've experienced and gotten to, I would say fresh in the aspect of that it's like, look, there's been some people that have been doing this for a decade. Like,
sure,
this has been like the past year that we've gotten to experience,
right,
like the good and the bad of YouTube. And I think that the way that I kind of want to handle this episode, and we kind of talked about this in the kitchen, but it's the idea that it's like, look, man, like growing up, I wish I would have had a me to be able to help me with like guitar and like, with, just figuring things out with something creative that I'm doing because, having a mentor or having somebody like that is very, beneficial and it helps out a lot. Like, especially to get away from like, hey, like, don't make these mistakes. Like, don't do this. Like, don't waste your time with this. Like, do this instead. You're going to be taking off, a lot sooner. That's kind of what I want to do tonight is that, kind of give the window into what Riker Road was before, because for anybody that is new to the channel or, maybe doesn't know how everything happened, Eric, you started Riker Road. It was your baby. You wanted to do it. And that was something that was ambitious at the time because we were working with the least amount that we possibly could. It was horrendous.
Dude, there was so little that we had. I mean, we had a lot. We had a lot going for it, and the fact that, you had already been in the YouTube game for a while now.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that I knew that I could kind of overcome immediately.
Right.
But the look and everything was there, but it wasn't there fully. And now that we have progressed into what it is now on the channel, it is a big change in 1 year.
Yeah.
Hell, it was a big change within one episode to another when it happened.
Yeah, it was. What was weird was that, we did start off, I guess you could say in the beginner stage. And then, like obviously like when the tiles got put up and, we started using the cell phone thing, like even with my apprehension and like my disdain for them, I've got a whole thing about it. It's not relevant, but it's like, there was just, man, like the second the phone showed up, that's when it was just like, okay, cool. We're getting crystal clear, like images here.
Yes.
We knew we already had great sound from the Rodecaster Pro, which that's they're not sponsoring this channel. Like, guys, like if you genuinely, like if you can afford it and if you want something that is a versatile tool, it's what we're using to record this right now. It is such an awesome tool. So it's like, we knew that we had great audio.
Right.
But it was the visual and then like that identity of that, just like, okay, like what are people going to see when they click on this channel? Because it sounds vain, but it's the truth because people click because of thumbnails.
What it looks like.
Yeah.
Yes. And the thing is that, the fact of investing in yourself a little bit takes yourself a long way, because it was the lighting that I bought eventually. It was the Rodecasters that I bought, and even a third one for when guests might be on for something, or even for the podcast.
Oh, you mean the Shure SM7Bs?
I mean, What did I say?
Rodecasters.
Yeah, sorry. The Shure.
I knew what you meant, but
my bad, guys. But lot of names have come through here. But no, it's the fact of, I wanted it all to sound cohesive, and also for even the podcast, because I knew that eventually that this was going to come back.
Yeah.
So the look, even though it might be similar in the fact of Riker Road to the podcast right now, that might not always be the same thing. Like, that could always expand into its own thing in a different room. But as far as sound, look, lighting, things like that, it was to benefit both. And when you invest in yourself a little bit, it clearly takes yourself a long way, because you believe in yourself. Now that you've bought the things, now you have to do it.
Yeah. Because do you feel like there's almost like this mentality of, and I hate saying this because it sounds like I'm shitting on people, in general, like, that are trying to make content, but it's one of those where it's like, man, like you can have the best camera, you can have the best audio,
but if you don't know how to use it,
it's like, dude, like it's just, I think it's the way that I heard somebody put it, where it's like, man, like, like if you imagine, doing your craft as a cake, and it's like you need all these ingredients. I think it was Rogan that said it, where he was like, dude, like this poor bastard, like, man, it's like, he doesn't have any milk, he doesn't have any eggs, like, it's just, it sucks, because it's like, it's one of those that, you have to find something that you want to capture, but you want to capture it well. Because I think a lot of people jump into YouTube thinking, oh, I should be a YouTuber, and they have no like concrete answer of what they even want to do.
What they want to do.
And it's because I've had friends of mine that have been like, oh, like, hey, man, like, why do you guys get, however many people that show up to a live? Which, by the way, guys, we're on Riker Road. It's at like what? Like it's above 60K now. And like, and how many people pop in on a live?
So on average, guys, 60K even now, like we've been in the hundreds, but I would say anywhere from 60 to 80 on average. And we're on for about 2 hours. So it's, I mean, it is kind of long, but we just kind of hang out more than anything so that, people kind of, fluctuate in and out.
Yeah, because we do about like 2 hours. So,
I would say about 2 hours. And then, even with that, like going back to the whole like look and everything, like even tonight, guys, for like the podcast, this is brand new for us. Like this is different cameras than it is on Riker Road. So this is going to be a learning process as well.
Yeah.
This is going to change. This is not always going to be this way. This is ground zero almost again for it. And this is and this is awesome. Like,
it's basically like the point I'm kind of getting at is that it's one of those where it's like, guys, like if you're watching this and you kind of want to know, like, I guess like the secret sauce of YouTube is that it's like there's no specific answer I can give you as far as like what you, the person, should do. But what I will say is that I think that it's one of those where it's like Eric and I knew that from being in a public setting and then being at like family get-togethers and stuff. Like, now, to be fair, our entire family is very dynamic and is a lot of fun to be around, like at different things. Like that's something that I cherish and I love, but it went back to that mentality of just like, man, if we had a camera in front of us when this moment was happening, and we found it in reacting, like it's so weird how it happened.
So the thing is that the channel starting with gameplay, it was something that we both really wanted to do. I wanted to do, I got the new Xbox, like all this stuff, like kind of for it, also for pleasure, but it was like, man, I want to do this channel. This is a great idea, which it is in theory, but so do a lot of other people. Same with reactions and even podcasts. Yeah. But when you kind of find your niche, it works. Gaming wasn't it. And then when one day I just looked at you and were like, look, man, I think I want to switch it over to music. And you were completely on board because, like you've said before, having that camera on, it was always the same thing. Like, we did this before we had a camera on. It was always like, this would be funny if we had a camera on us.
Yeah,
we've been doing it for years.
Well, because it's honing into that mentality of just like there's something natural that's happening here. There's something that like there's almost kind of this magic that happens. Like, again, like I'm not trying to use this as a time to puff our ego, but the comments that we get, and it's like we don't get it, but it's one of those where it's just like, guys, like, you guys have such a great chemistry, like, you remind me of me and my brother, like, or whatever. Yeah. Like, I think that we have a leg up because we are siblings. So there is that kind of thing where, like, I mean, not every sibling is as tight as we are, or like, acts the way that we do or whatever. I mean, I think it's a case by case basis, but in the same hand is that I think that there's a moment when you strike gold and and there's no explanation. Exactly. There's nothing. It's like, it's this, I've described it before, is that like, it's almost like this buzz, is that like when we would get done recording a music reaction, we are standing in the kitchen, talking, laughing, like, oh my God, I can't believe that. Or some nights, like when we're reacting to like NF, like there's some nights where it's like, nah, dude, like we don't talk much. Like, it's like there's that different dynamic, but it was always a better dynamic than when we would leave a gaming video, because it was just
every time.
Guys, like I'm going to open a window a little bit, is that was probably the peak of my frustration of just like something just not working. Like, it was something would always happen.
Elgato, it was not streaming services, but just like connections to everything. Then it was sound, and then it was, oh my God, now we can't see this, and then it would all finally work, and it would be fine. But then, like you said, like it was just peak frustration on everything, and then we would get an hour and a half worth of footage. I'd get 10 minutes out of it and get 12 views.
Yeah.
Now, not saying that you don't need to start from the bottom and climb up, but it was just like, dude, we were being consistent. We were going through games. We were beating things. Like, we were funny. Not to, like you said, not to like boost our ego, but like we were funny. It was good.
I think I mainly saw the funny moments kind of pop up, like whenever it was like, like the times that we would have Devin on and he would freak out like when he would die in Sonic,
Yeah.
or like, you know, there's a moment that got lost, and I'm hoping to God that we can find it. But
I
Eric,
think I might have found it.
Okay.
I think I may have.
we were playing Resident Evil 8, and Eric shot an arrow with another arrow, and it split the arrows like in midair, and we both looked at each other like, dude, we got it on camera, awesome, like that happened. Like that's kind of how I view the original Riker Road, is that we split a lot of arrows, but it wasn't enough.
Nice. I like how you did
It's
that.
like it's true. It's the truth though. Like I've talked it to death, but it's like, man, like again, this 3 seconds in this gameplay of developing this game
Yeah.
felt amazing. How in the hell do we make this last for 12 hours? And it's like music, like ironically, was just the ingredient that
side.
we were missing.
Yeah.
Like we were cooking with the wrong thing.
Well,
So,
I mean, think about it. There's a lot to be said with when I tell people, either when they ask or somebody mentions it and they are like, what do you do? And I tell them that it's music reactions, but I also lead with the fact that I'm the rap guy, you're the metal guy.
Yeah.
So it's this like perfect blend of what we want to show each other and then the audience wanting to show us, depending on what genre it is, thinking the other person might like it along with the said person that likes that genre.
Right.
Wow, that was a mouthful.
Well, it's true though.
But
Yeah.
that's where there is something to be said with having such a variety of things that you can listen to and enjoy, and it's opened us up to other things as well
Yep.
that neither one of us would listen to. But people seem to like the fact that we have such a different view on music, and that we have come together and really enjoyed what we're doing and having fun at the same time.
Yeah.
And then now it's led back into other things like your podcast, like the Kyle Wright 425 with your scary stories and things. Like it's leading into other things.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of even YouTube, if you have other things to go with it like that.
Yeah.
Not everybody might have, multiple channels or anything, but you can kind of blossom off of things.
So, okay. I don't want to make this entire thing about just our journey on Riker Road, but
Sure.
but in the same hand is that like, I think that the way that I want to view this is that it's going to be more so the idea of like, guys, like we get questions a lot about,
I was
hey,
going to
guys,
say,
like,
we can answer some of those.
yeah, just like, the idea of like, hey, like, how do you guys do this? Like AJ Williams, he's one of our guys. He supports on Patreon, and he also I've connected with him on Instagram. He started his own reaction channel, and it's cool because like I'm seeing him, get excited about like, dude, I got 200 views. And it's like, dude, like, good for you,
Yeah.
man. Like, dude, it's like
that's major.
Yeah, it's because it's like, dude, like we've literally seen a channel go from 15 subscribers to over 60,000 in a year. That's crazy.
Literally.
It's insane, and it's one of those where it's like we've been able to experience the good and the bad from that. Now, to be fair, this is not going to be an entire podcast on us shitting on YouTube.
No. But I also want to get
There's-
in.
yeah.
I also want to get in real quick. Is that I don't know how people might view YouTube. Is that, guys? Yes, that there are people out there like us and other people that are starting that might get a lot of views on doing reactions. Does not mean this is a cash grab. This is not a for sure thing that it comes to being a reactor that you're just going to be big on YouTube. That's
No,
not. That's
not at
not.
all.
No. There's a lot of things that do have to come into play no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's weird for me that YouTube has such a variety of things that you can do because, well, it's in the name.
YouTube.
So
Yeah, right.
you have people like us. You have people like, Rhett and Link. You have people like the guy that does the guitar reviews and stuff like
Oh yeah, Arnold plays guitar. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you can do on actual YouTube platform. And it's awesome because it gives you a lot of variety other than just like going on and flipping on the TV. You can find almost anything.
Yeah,
You can learn how to fix a whole goddamn car if you want.
Dude, and what I love about people that are just winning at YouTube was I'm going to butcher the guy's name, and I didn't think of him until now, but there is actually a gentleman on YouTube that has made an entire channel that's based around Dad, how do I? Where you would go, like something that you could ask your dad, like, Dad, how do I change an engine? Dad, how do I unclog my toilet? With a snake, or like, Dad, how do I woodwork?
Smart.
How do I do these things? Like, and I don't know, like, as far as like how he handles his monetization or whatever. I'm sure that he's probably gained a good surplus from it, but it's like that is such a wholesome thing where it's like, nah, dude, like not everybody has a dad. And
Right.
it's one of those where it's like that's how he tapped into that, was that he loves doing that thing.
The good side of YouTube,
Yeah,
basically.
like,
the Kevin's, like, LA Beast and stuff that are just wholesome fun.
Yeah.
Even if he's just being a fucking idiot. It's still just that like break from reality. And I think that's what we both understand and kind of just do with not only Riker Road, but also the podcast channel and all the things that you do even on your own. There is something to be said when you can take somebody away for a minute and just let them indulge in what they're watching.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way, we have it and we did it and we found it.
Again, still don't get it.
Me either.
It's weird because, it's like you have that, moment whenever like, you're getting these comments and people are like, oh my God, like, again, I'm not going to use names. I think we talked about this on the 57K in a year video that we did. But it's like, nah, dude, like we get very emotional messages about like people that are going through stuff. And I think that says something about the craft of what we do because it involves music. And it's like, it's the idea where like music is what emotion sounds like. So clearly we're listening to heavy stuff like NF, like subject wise, like, it's very, very heavy, but there's also just the fun aspect of where like, dude, like guys, you've got to check this out. Or like, this is the thing, it's something that I've grown to really be conditioned by, that it's like this past year has changed me a lot as a person. To experience, thankfully, like we are very fortunate that this has happened to us. Like whether or not you want to believe it was by blessing or if it's, by a, system of circumstances that involves nothing spiritual, like regardless, like you have to look at the proof in the pudding. Something happened and we are fucking grateful for it.
Yes.
And with that being said, is I do want to kind of transition into let's talk about I guess like the big thing, and I think this may end up being a YouTube clip, but we'll see what happens. But monetization for reactors and actually monetization in general. There's a lot of things that I've experienced when it comes to fighting copyright claims.
Yeah, you've been on
like
kind of like almost a couple different sides of it as far as like content that's being uploaded.
Yeah. For instance, there was a video that got posted a while ago. It was an episodic thing that my friends and I were making, and we made everything in house. Like we're talking like, it was like, all right, cool. Like we're going to design this, like, everything was captured, with a camera that was out in the middle of the woods. We were doing a found footage film, but it was like, we broke it up into like a whole multi-episode thing. I hope it never sees the light of day. But what was crazy was that I purchased royalty-free music from Video Copilot.
I remember this.
And I made the end credits. I've always joked that my favorite part of the entire short film was the opening and the ending credits. But no, like I built up this ending credits with this royalty-free music, and YouTube claimed my video. And they were saying that it was this small section. They're like, nah, this sounds like a real song. I'm like, well, first off, what song is it? Because this was not put into like the mentality to copy anything.
Right.
I was doing it with like different like Twitch effects or whatever, like when the words would scroll and it would like at certain moments, like maybe sound effects would do different stuff. Moving forward into reacting. Now, mind you, they did take care of it. I fought it and they were like, oh, you're right. Okay, this is royalty free. This is Video Copilot. You're good. With reaction videos, this is kind of unique in that aspect that people that react to movies and music, this is really where this starts to show the ugly side of what, like, because I don't want to say it's just YouTube, because it's also the record labels that like, copyright claim things. So it's not just all YouTube's things, but it is on YouTube. So it's like, this should be taken care of. To be very blunt, I have never in my life seen personally a website that completely just negates and does not give a shit about federal law. Like, it is like federal law has been written for a reason for many more serious things.
Right.
But fair use is something that is very important. And I think that it's how everybody handles things, like talk shows, like, when they play certain clips of certain things, it's like, they don't get copyright claim. There's nothing there. It's like
they're getting a pass somehow.
Now, granted, you could say that there's a lot of politics there of like, the idea of,
of
them,
course.
like, they have, like Tom Holland on. Clearly, they're not going to, have an issue with showing a clip from Infinity War or something.
Right.
But
they're promoting it.
So as far as your side of things, because I kind of knew what to expect when it came to that, like I warned Eric, I was like, look, dude, this is going to get infuriating and this is going to get rough fast as far as like, if we're going to consistently consistently pump out this content. Now, I would say we've kind of now got it down to a science in a way of what to expect. But what did you like just think of this copyright thing as it started and where it's going now, even as we continue to do reactions? The big cups are even on other channels, just so you know. So
no, so with the copyrights, it's interesting because once it started, once the channel got monetized and everything started to kind of flow, we had this brief like moment of like freedom. Because we were freshly monetized, and I don't think they were really paying attention to us.
No, it's also about like how much noise you're making. So
yes, and so like it was like kind of moving, pretty steadily, and then once it started getting to be something within a few months actually. So it didn't take long. Like again, that's not every channel, but we moved kind of quick, guys, and once that started happening, it was like every single video. It was every day, every time. If it wasn't the music, we'd fight the copyright, and then now it's the video. It's like, well, fuck me, right? Like, well, which one the fuck is it? Is it this one or this one?
Because clearly the video wasn't a problem when you were doing the audio.
Correct.
So
now that I beat you on this one, now you got another problem over here.
Yeah.
So, and then Kyle made watermarks to put over them, and then we were still getting... There was so many things. We resized and flipped and mirrored and did all these things. Like we went through so much shit, guys. Like it didn't just happen to be like, yep, this channel is cool and it looks great and sounds great. Here we fucking go.
I would say that this channel has, in a way, kind of been almost like an elongated pregnancy that's been really fucking rough.
The copyright is the biggest issue.
Yes, and it's because what frustrates me the most is that this kind of goes into some like YouTube drama, but it comes into the idea of like, Onision. So it's like the idea that he would claim other people's videos that were exposing him and like different things that were happening. He was copyright claiming their videos and getting them taken down because yes, they were using his content, but even though he doesn't like it, it's still within fair use because they were commentating on it and they were giving context. And it's really rough now because there are some people, and I don't know like specifically like what songs or whatever's being used with it, but it's like some people somehow are uploading videos with original copyrighted content, obtaining that ability to say that that's theirs, and then they are claiming other videos to get the revenue off of that. And it's like I'm going to be very blunt, like YouTube, this is a problem. Like this is a big problem that you have going on. And I know that you guys have plenty of other shit that's happening, but it's like, this is a consistent thing. Like you have built a system that doesn't work. And it's like, it's something that you've tried to put a Band-Aid on many times. And I will say that it's not as bad once you understand that it's like, there are just some you are not going to win on. It's mainly like foreign stuff. So like specifically like on Riker Road, like what would be some ones that like we wouldn't get like monetization on?
Normally,
try to fight it.
Like normally it is a lot of like foreign things as far as like, non-American as far just in general, but we do have some loopholes or people that have found us and then do enjoy us that I think pay attention to when something comes through and they don't copyright it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Alex Terrible is one of them.
Dude, oh my God, bless him, dude. He's so great.
Yeah. And dude, when I get my mask, it's game. I'm wearing it all the time in the house, like just to cook dinner. Like,
this is me now.
Yeah,
like,
this is me. But no.
Yeah. He got a Alex Terrible mask for Christmas.
I sure fucking did.
It's on the way. So
That's the thing is that it is weird because when you think you figured it out, you didn't because a lot of the K-pop stuff is, demonetized. And then you come over here to, Russia. Well, you think you're going to, because it's Alex Terrible and Slaughter to Prevail, but then all of a sudden we're just not. But then you go over here to Electric Callboy and then it's like, sometimes we've been blocked, just straight up blocked.
Yes.
We found, there's another one that we have to fight it. The other day I found out of nowhere, video was up for weeks and then fucking blocked.
Yeah, and I think that the moment with Electric Callboy that kind of like made me throw my hat into the the ring and not into the ring, but like throw in the towel. Like, there's no editing on here.
Yeah.
No, it was just like, dude, like we recorded a funny reaction to Huracan. And that was so fucking fun. And it was just like, that's probably the hardest I think I have laughed on the channel besides the Grinch reaction. Like it was so amazing. And we had our normal, like, okay, it's partially blocked. It's blocked in Russia.
Didn't matter. Like
there's a lot of stuff that's going on, like, politically and everything like that. That makes sense. Like, okay, sure. Like, that's fine. Like that's 1% of our audience. That's not going to negate like, like Lori West and like, like everybody else that's watching us like that.
Correct.
They'll still be able to see it. 2 weeks this video was up, and then out of nowhere, mom was like, hey, like I went to go rewatch the video and it's saying that it's blocked in America. And it was like, what the hell? Like, what changed? Like, guys, like we did everything. Like the video is reversed. It's scaled down to 1/4 the size of every. Actually, it's smaller than 1/4. And like, there's been some people that have even complained about like, dude, like we can't even see the video properly or this or that. And it's like I respond every time like, dude, thank YouTube, man. Like as long as they keep doing this crap, we have to keep doing it this way. Like this is how we get content to you. And I hate doing it.
And that's the thing is that it's always something with this copyright. And like you said, with YouTube not abiding by the federal law as far as like what they've even posted as far as like, reaction material and stuff. The pausing, the talking over, and we don't fake it, but it's the fact of we know that we do have to like be like, oh shit, like when we want to say that, we have to say it out loud even when the song is playing, because you do have to break up that like monotony a little bit, not monotony, but like the sound for it is, it's just one of those like, if not, you're not gonna, you're just sitting there going like this and then the song's playing. Yeah. So now it's just the song playing. So for the people that do reactions like that, I don't even know how they get content out, because if you're not stopping and you're not talking, you literally are just listening to a song now on your channel.
Yeah.
Now I can understand.
Which here's what I will say is that there's been a drastic dynamic that has happened with every single reaction that we've ever done, is that there has been times that, it's like, for instance, like Voices in My Head, like, by Falling in Reverse, like, that was a song that we just could not shut up throughout the entire thing. We were just having such a great time.
Well, right.
And then there's reactions like Time by NF, where it's like, nah, dude, we didn't talk much. Like that was emotionally that was like, but again, each instance it's the camera capturing the first time true reaction of what's happening. And it's like, you can't beckon on like just making noise every single time, because then number one, you're not engaged in the reaction because you're thinking I have to fight copyright.
Well, right.
So it's one of those where it's like, I don't know, like I've kind of like said like screw it in a way where I'm like, nah, dude, like I'm just gonna react the way that I'm gonna react.
What I was saying in the fact of that, like when people are listening to a song the first time, you don't want to make noise because you want to hear what's going on.
Correct.
So it's the fact of I tell myself, no, make those noises, but it also helps fight the copyright because you're doing it over the sound.
Even if you're just like,
correct.
Like, right. Yeah.
That's what I mean is that I had to learn to do that because I didn't want to interrupt it for you trying to listen to something or
yes. Yeah.
And that's the thing is that I had to just release that in my mind and be like, no, do that because that's one, it's real. Two, it helps with what we're trying to do at the same time. So yeah.
It's look, man, we could talk about all the frustrations of copyrights for like an hour if we wanted to. That could be an episode on its own.
But that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. It's hard because it's one of those where it's like, it is the central, like, thorn in the side. If you're going to have a reaction channel, like guys, at the end of the day, this is something that my boss told me a long time ago. He is somebody that is just well-versed when it comes to tech and when it comes to, just those types of things. And he was like, look, man, as long as you are uploading copyrighted material, you are going to have a battle of some kind.
Well, of course.
And that's something that, like, if somebody that's watching this, if you've made it this far into it, is that it's like, look, man, this is going to be hard. No matter what you're going to do, whether it is conceptualizing something or whether or not it is fighting against, the powers that be to make sure that, you can properly, like, have a chance at, making a difference in your own life because you've decided to do this. Like, no, numbers aren't everything. No, like it's like, that's not the case. Like, But in the same hand is that if you're on YouTube and you don't have a following of some kind and have something to show for it, then your channel's not healthy. So It's like, it's finding that, healthy balance between the two, where it's like, I know for a fact that if YouTube stopped right now, it would not affect my life whatsoever financially. But it's one of those where it's like, yes, it is nice to have. It is cool to be able to know that there is something a little extra coming in every month. But again, it's something a little extra. It's not to the point of like, where it's like it's sustainable, because we've talked about it where it's like if you were doing Riker Road on your own, that maybe could be a different conversation.
Correct. Because at the end of the day, like I said before, is that splitting it 50-50, number one, is that it's in the studio's in your home. And then you also have that other aspect of you to where you know how to do some of the effects that go to the channel. You run certain things on the channel as far as Patreon and the community. I do the camera, the editing, the lighting, and then most of the time uploading.
Yeah.
There is a balance here. So doing this by myself, if it was just me and the quote paycheck that comes with it, I could probably almost fully comfortably quit my job. Now, that being said, is that I would also be doing all of this by myself, learning as I go, maybe not having things, and I probably wouldn't have that quote revenue the same because it wouldn't be the same as it is now.
If you wanted to play this game on your own, you would have to earn your bones and more.
I would say I would
anyway,
but I would say I would probably still be in the same boat, like financially, if you will. Like I try to look at it even that way. So no, I couldn't. It would be almost close, but that's the thing, is that doing this for the paycheck and to be like a stay-at-home dad or something, of course, is a dream.
Right.
It's not always going to be that way.
No, and
that's something that people don't understand.
It's what I think is funny is that it's more so kind of in the idea of like like teenagers like, oh, I'm just going to be a Twitch streamer. Okay, number one, you are. This is going to be me being very blunt, but it's like you're not fun to look at. You're not fun.
Yeah.
And it's like all you're going to be doing is playing video games. Like, do you understand that the reason that Markiplier is as successful as he is because he's hilarious. And I love watching him, beat Five Nights at Freddy's. And yes, at that time, that was the scariest game that was out on Steam.
Correct.
Or whatever platform. He jumped on that. And there was much more that, made him, successful. But man, it's just YouTubers are special because they're not everybody. And everybody thinks that they can be YouTubers. And that's the part that sucks about it, where it's just like saying that you're going to, start a band or that you're going to do these different things. Like, of course, every single band that's been out there has been told oh, you're not going to be anything. You're just starting in a garage. Like, you're not, doing this.
Of course,
or that.
But then it ends up going somewhere.
Right. So it's that hard thing of you have to start somewhere. And it's that idea of that, if you're going to do YouTube, you have to stand out. There has to be something that's going to be done with that.
So that's something I was actually going to touch on before we, kind of wrapped up, is the fact of, yes, this right here, and
the cup size and everything.
The cups and stuff, is that, we do have some slogans. I have some contacts for certain bands and stuff now because it's just, demonic, or they're into horror stuff. And but you kind of have to have a thing.
Yeah.
You have to have a thing. And like you just said, stand out. People, for the most part, comment about, oh my God, look at that cup, or I can't wait to see on the next one, or which one has he got tonight? So there is something there in the fact of they noticed that. And it started as an accident, man, and it just became the thing. So there is a lot to be said with having something go along with what you're already going to do, because like you said, you have to stand up. There's a million fucking reaction channels.
Yes. What makes you it's that stupid mentality of just look, man, you've got to wow me.
Right.
Why am I here? There's a reason why I'm here. there's something about you that has just stood out and is I want to take this in any chance that I possibly can. I love watching, Octo Cruel react to movies. I love watching Awkward Ashley react to movies, even when it comes to music. Like, you know, we've talked about like 2 Lit Mafia, like, you know, he was kind enough to come on one of our streams and stuff and say hi and everything. Like, that was so cool. Like, he's somebody that we've looked up to and that we've watched for a while. And then, you know, there's reactors like, you know, like there's No Life Shack, there's Laid Back DFR, there's D Gibby, there's you know, Mr. L Boy, Just Jen. Like we're a part of a really awesome culture here. And it's like everybody brings something different, and like it's so cool to see the way that Mr. L Boyd took in Voices in My Head compared to the way that we did, because we were just 2 brothers that were just like revving it up, and the camera goes into Ronnie's eye and like he pauses it. Excuse me, spitting, but he pauses it, and he's so intellectual. He is so proper, and like he takes in music differently. And there's something really attractive, like when you're a viewer, like when you see that, is that it's like, man, like, you know, maybe I just kind of want to be chill tonight. Like, you know what, I'll watch Mr. L Boyd, like the camera going into the third eye, and he's like, oh yes, I believe this is the third eye chakra that we have happening here. And it's like, it's so him, and I love it. Like it's so cool.
Like you just said, that's him.
Right.
Riker Road is something that I knew that developing it into that kind of channel would be a no-brainer, because we already love music and already talk about it. The chemistry that we clearly had on camera for other things, or even off camera, I knew was going to be something, just because the fact of, like I said, not to be funny, but we are funny. We've been told it all our life. We don't see it. But
people that don't even like us know we're funny. No,
but when you like hear it constantly, it's like, all right, well then maybe I got something here.
Right.
So all we did was kind of hone in on those things, and like I said, put a camera on. The YouTube side of things is a big spectrum of like broadness of things that you can do, and like we stated earlier, is that there are a lot of people in your genre doing the same things, but when you find the thing. When you find the thing for you, just because you don't have as big in numbers as this person over here that's in the same genre as you, does not mean that you can't make your own noise in your own lane.
Correct.
I heard a Jelly Roll verse where he said, just stay in your lane, don't drive too fast.
Right.
Stay in your lane. As long as you're over it, just do you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't got to do 100 miles an hour.
Do what you love. Do it, or more so, it's like do what you're good at. Like it's like, like if you know that you're good at something, do it,
and never do it for free.
Yeah, right.
But it's just the fact of there was something to that, in the fact of that it's just that yes, stay in your lane, know what you want to do, because that's the biggest thing. Like we were talking earlier, is that you need to know what you're going to do on this platform.
Yeah.
If you have a couple of ideas, okay, throw them out there, see what's sticking. But then you need to focus on one, maybe 2, because if you just keep being sporadic, it's not going to work right.
No.
So when you have that thing that you want to do, it's going to work a lot better, and at least give you that sense of accomplishment.
So as far as YouTube in general is concerned, kind of what I want to hone in here, besides the monetization, besides the copyright, you know, all that stuff, I think that very quickly what I want to talk about is upload schedule and how things happen. Is that, guys, again, kind of, I would say this is more of a secret sauce that we have kind of tapped into, is that we do upload 6 videos a week on Riker Road. We have found a way to be able to make sure that happens, and sometimes it's 7 a week, and it's like, you know, it's every single day. I know that with the way that we do things is that, again, Riker Road is very natural. So us listening to 4 songs one night and then 3 another, like we were going to do that anyway. You know? So it's one of those where it's like, guys, like if you are trying to pump out content, and if you have a way to be able to know, all right, cool, I have this free time from my full-time job that I can get 4 videos done in an evening. Cool. That is a shoot day. That is what you are doing that day. Like your day is geared towards that. And what's cool is that when it's done, you have 4 videos. So right there, you have almost the entire, you know, midweek taken care of. And it's like, all right, cool. We took it to the next level once we understood that it was like, wow, like, so if we only add another day, we can literally cover the majority. Like if not anything, like, you know, it's like 90% of the week. Like we can take care of that.
So even with you saying add another day, it's not even a day. when we broke this down on a couple of different questions, it was the fact of when we really thought about it, is that once you get down the concept of where things need to be, how lighting needs to be, and basically have your setup just be able to be a walk-in thing. Now, I know that not everybody can do that.
Correct.
But what it boils down to on a record night, maybe an hour and a half. And then
and that also depends on just the length of the videos that we're watching too.
I'm saying on a pretty much 95% average.
I'd say so. Yeah.
It's about an hour and 20 to hour and 45 minutes as far as recording, let's say a 4-song night.
There's also times like, we may like take a break like here and there.
Well,
or something,
right.
Like,
so. I'm just saying in the fact of that. And then, editing, if it's a 15-minute video, takes me about 20 minutes. So the time that it takes is not that long. It was the fact of us finding that schedule and also understanding when and how to upload. I know that sounds dumb, guys, but it is. Now, I will say I went a little bit against the grain on some of the analytics that I was reading. It states that our audience is pretty much around us around the 2 p.m. I upload every morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Now, to me, I know that we're all over the world, which is crazy to say.
Still
but
can't fathom it, but
to me, that's 9 a.m. morning for where I'm from. It's what you wake up, this is what you see. So I took it into that mentality. I don't know if that's right. I'm just letting you know what I did. But Kyle was right. There's a lot of analytics and things that you can look at to help you with this. So when it comes to the uploading and things like that, it's the fact of finding that sweet spot that also I have to touch on real quick is that if you do have a significant other, it really helps when they're on board and give you
so much.
Yes. So thank you.
Yes.
And
we love you.
But that, all joking aside, is that does help because that keeps the rhythm going. And it does not throw a wrench in, but even at that, having that consistency and finding the day that, or the days or day that you can do things makes a huge, because we were just trying to do it sporadically. We were doing it was awful. It was all right, we're going to react to this tonight. And then tomorrow we're no. You don't do it every single day.
No. And that's
all we do is change shirts.
Because Chris, who's one of our patron supporters on Riker Road, and he's just, I would consider him a friend now. He is so great. He used to make the joke that he was like, I know that you guys don't, record, however many videos a night, because what psychopath changes their shirt, between recordings? That's ridiculous. Guys, that was the sauce that we tapped into, was that we wanted to give the illusion that every single video was a different day.
Correct.
But it isn't. It's all in one night. Now, so to break it down very simply is that we do right now, as the schedule is, and it's subject to change, but it's one of those where it's nah, dude, on Thursdays, we record 4 videos. Those are the audience, kind of videos to help keep everything alive. And then on Sunday, that's patrons, is that we put a patron post up earlier in the week, and then, they get 7 songs from suggestions they put up. And then they get 3 songs, and then they get 3 songs a week. And it's so, all right, cool. So we record those on Sunday. So it's just right there. You've got 7 videos. And it kind of adds this weird dynamic where it's some people are oh, dude, you got to do this, now you got to do this, or this is happening. Where's this reaction? Guys, we already shot it. It's just, it's backlogged. It's coming out.
Right.
When you get to that point of YouTube, that's when you know that you've at least got a consistency of a pulse. And it's cool, no matter what, even if, 4 videos in a row only get 100 views, there's 4 videos being uploaded this week.
Correct.
So it's it's that type of thing of there is kind of a grind that happens there. And it's nah, man, if you can delegate your YouTube life to be, 2, I wouldn't even, again, I love how you said that it's not 2 days, it's 2 evenings. And even then it's an hour and a half or an hour. It doesn't take much, but also I understand that not everybody's situation governs them the ability to do that.
Understandable, yes.
Eric and I are roommates in my house. This is what we say goes. And it's one of those where it's we basically had to do that, self-discipline of being all right, man, we're going to do this.
Yep.
This is when this is going to happen. And I think that's one of the biggest, I guess, hurdles I've had to get over, because I did grind when I made my scary stories, but it was different because there was fan interaction, but it wasn't as in depth as what Riker does. So
I think the fan interaction with the channel is one of the biggest things as well. Even when it was new, that also keeps it going because one, the algorithm and things, but then, people are also engaging with each other that are fans of the same thing, or maybe new fans talking about certain things with each other. I love reading things where it's, I came here for NF but stayed for Ronnie.
Right.
Or I came here because I was watching this and you guys were suggested. Like, there is something to be said about that.
There is, yeah.
Because with them growing as well, like, our audience is like growing with us in a weird way because we're like finding things out with each other, and that's really awesome.
Especially K-pop. That's been the biggest thing where it's like that.
Dude.
That would have never been something we would have chosen.
We can't even get into that because that'll be a whole episode and a half. But I think more so is just the fact of all of the things that have happened with YouTube over this last year have been really incredible.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of amazing things, a lot of emotional things. There's also been a lot of bullshit things that have happened.
Absolutely.
But the good things have definitely outweighed the bad.
Yeah.
And, it's the fact of, we've talked about that most of the stuff on this channel, it's already paid for. Knock on wood, we don't have to be replaced for quite a while. That even if the channel didn't make a dime, we would still do this. We don't need anything else. This is strictly for fun when it comes to Riker Road.
Right.
Like you said, we were going to do this anyways. We just have a cool room to go do it in now.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it also comes into play, is that it didn't matter. It wasn't about fame, money, recognition, anything. We did it because we do it because we like the music. We do it because we like the feeling. We do it because we like the sound. Like all of those things. Like, when you have a bad day, there's been plenty of times you and I have gone to record and we just didn't want to.
No, not at all.
And then that one fucking song comes into it and we're just like, yeah, man, fuck yeah.
That is the moment that I've had it happen, because it's like, have you ever had this happen whenever you're reacting to something where it's like, dude, like, you're almost kind of like watching yourself. Like, it's like, you kind of wake up and you realize, no, dude, something great is happening. Get back down to ground level. And it's like, you get back into it. And it's like, I don't know, like, we've said it before, is that when the camera is on, something happens.
It does.
It's like almost like kind of like, no, dude, like, nothing else exists in the world right now. And it's a feeling that I really love to chase. Like, I feel like I am chasing that dragon, in a way. But man, it's so wild. I've experienced certain things in my life that have come close to what YouTube has done, but at the end of the day, like, it's so unique and it's so amazing, just like the goodness from it. Because, guys, like, if you've ever spent any time in a comment thread on YouTube, it's horrible. Like, just, it's not as bad as, like, what you could say with like 4chan, or like even like, maybe like when Reddit can get, like, rough or whatever when somebody says something, until like, moderators are really good on there. But it's like, nah, dude, like, that is the public opinion, and the public's opinion can be very, very degrading and very just like defeating. Of just, it's like, man, like, this thing I put so many hours into, and then somebody tells me my lighting sucked or whatever, or like, oh man, like, you ugly, person, or this or whatever. It's like, okay, well, I guess I won't do this anymore. Like, we've been very fortunate that people just love music as much as we do. So
they do. And do you know what's crazy is, to touch on real quick about the giving like opinions and stuff. There's something to be said about giving a brutally honest feedback and then shitting on somebody.
Yes.
It can be in the fact of, we actually had somebody ask us to watch something and you responded where it's like, it's not the greatest. This is what you need to do to fix this.
Yep.
It wasn't the fact of, this is dog shit, you shouldn't do this. It was, hey man, this isn't the best. Here's how to maybe fix this and try to do something different.
Yeah.
If you can take constructive criticism, there's something to be said there, because it's giving you the honest feedback and opinion, but then giving you the right tools, or at least right direction, to try to fix whatever the problem is.
Well, because I think it's also the mentality that, I try to remember that I was that guy.
Right.
And it's, because it's like, even just like, trying to, like, struggle to make a G chord happen on a guitar. You know, it's like that's the stuff that I try to remember whenever I see a friend of mine or, you know, see somebody's kid that is picking up an instrument for the first time where it's like, nah, dude, you're going to suck. That's how you get better.
Yes.
Like it's in that it's such a like just rough thing to like, just like keep in your mind is that it's like, dude, like I got to suck at this for a while. Like I got to get made fun of. I got to do this. Yes. Like exactly.
100%.
Yes.
There's been people that there's been a few people that have asked us, and, you know, because I run the Instagram, you know, Kyle doesn't do that. He does that, like the Patreon and the community. But one of the things is I do the Instagram, and there are people that send things, and sometimes I do watch things and I will interact back. And I've said before where it's like, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, look, in a non-mean way, it's like, it's not the best. But you just started.
Right.
If this is what you really want to do, keep going, because I see what you're doing and what you're trying to go for.
Yes.
You're brand new. Like you just said, you're going to suck for a while. You have to get past that. Michael Jordan just didn't dunk from the fucking foul line the first time.
No, he had to learn how to do it.
He had to learn how to fucking dunk first.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there's something to be said with all of that. Just like how Riker Road was, is that it evolved into something. It fucking sucked, man.
Yeah.
It was bad. We didn't just have 60,000 subscribers come flocking to us.
No.
It happened over time. We had to suck, and I had to fail at a bunch of things real quick.
Yes.
And when I mean real quick, a few months.
Right.
So,
in the grand scheme of things, it was just real quick. But yeah.
But it's the fact of the year of Riker Road was not the year that it started. It was probably 5-6 months prior to that.
Yeah.
To where I had to fuck up, see what it didn't do, why this wasn't working, figure things out, and then one day it took off. Quote, took off. We're by far anything major compared to YouTube standards, but compared to what it was, man.
Oh, dude, it's astronomical. Yeah.
It's huge. I feel like the numbers moved very quickly compared to most other channels, no matter what they did. There's something to be said about that. And the fact that within a year, kind of wrap this up, I guess, like within this year of like what's happened is that a lot has actually happened when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to channels, when it comes to what has happened. We took something that wasn't anything. It just wasn't working.
Yeah, right.
And with
the island of misfit toys.
Yeah,
right.
But with both of us standing in that kitchen that is 8 feet away from us, every night, whether it was after we recorded or not, every night talking about something, me giving you ideas, you telling me things, you telling me, no, that's not a good idea, me saying no, but whatever. Every single night counted for something that happened to this day as far as the channel or channels.
Yes.
The fact that we never let it get us down, we figured out what was wrong, we tried, like we wanted to do this. When you have the passion for it, it's going to work. Yeah. It might not happen right away, but we've stated earlier is that it's not about the money. It's not about anything. This is because we want to do this.
Yes.
So the frustrations, it doesn't make us want to just quit because, oh my God, this didn't work this one time and it'll never happen. Like, it'll never work. And all the frustrations and all the things that we've put in make it worth it at the end of the day when the people interact, when the videos get a bunch of likes, when people talk about how they showed it to their friend or whatever. Like everything comes together. Just because this video got 1,000 views and this one got 15,000 views, it doesn't matter.
Right.
At the end of the day, we did something that people wanted to see. We gave them that opportunity to just shut off and come hang out with us. So that's my thing is that it took a while. It's worth it. It's worth it, guys. If you just do it and you believe in yourself, invest in yourself a little bit, you can. I also had a Kyle. I know that sounds funny, but it also helps. So don't make fun of the nerds.
Right. Well, it's, I guess I could say, for the spokesperson of all nerds across the planet, I thank you. So nevertheless, guys, if you have stuck around this long to hear, our jargon and to say everything that we've said so far, first and foremost, thank you. We encourage you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You can follow us on YouTube or on Spotify or anywhere else that is supported. I think that I want to wrap everything up into a bow of this is that, guys, through all the BS, through all of the triumphs of, the artists that have, loved what we've done, through the friends that we've made, the relationships that we know for a fact that will, last a substantial amount of time. I think it's safe to say that we love what we do. Mm-hmm. I love just making content and knowing something, is gonna make somebody smile. Like it's
right.
It's gonna brighten somebody's day, and it's mainly because it's like I know that feeling that I get when I watch my favorite YouTubers, and it doesn't have to make sense.
No,
it doesn't. But I'm looking at it where it's like, look, man, it's working. We're doing it. I love it. We've been able to involve some pretty incredible people.
Yes.
And there's still more to come. And
that's what she said.
Right. So I guess, Erica, with your final thoughts of everything, is there anything that you would like to say before we close off here?
Yeah, it's just, guys, like we already stated, is that if you have a passion for something, do it. You're going to fail. You're going to suck at it. You're going to, all the things that we've already said. But at the end of the day, if you love doing it, just do it. Believe in yourself, invest in yourself, and just see what happens, because that's all we did. And here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are, 60,000 people ahead from last year, now working on another channel that we were trying to do a while back and that just wasn't working, but, just different headspaces. But here we are, because it's a passion. It's something you want to do. And at the end of the day, guys, it's for fun. And that's all we're here for. So we hope you like it.
Yeah. Well, guys, we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you listening to our ramble about YouTube and everything that's happened. More content will be coming. It's not just going to be just about, how the system works. Like, we're going to talk about, different topics or different things. One of the things that we've talked about that we want to do is that we want to go through, an intense review of the NF journey.
100%.
And have, that could probably end up being a couple of episodes. We also want to review movies. We want to see what you guys want to see. We want to, talk about, the things that, we love bullshitting about. Like, whatever happens.
Yep.
And that's essentially what I'm going to let this channel become, is just, nah, man, this is, I can't call it the Fly on the Wall podcast, but you guys get to be the fly on the wall and we get to just talk. And the fact that there are people out there that want to see it is flattering.
Yep.
And I thank you, and I appreciate your time. And I think until next time, we're just going to go ahead and do our normal thing we do on Riker Road. So Eric, get your decanter ready.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, go for it.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out. Cheers.
Adios. See you guys.